Hi, hello, welcome back. First off, I just want to thank you guys for all of the really nice comments welcoming me back to the YouTubes. That was very nice to see, so thank you. But today I did want to complain about the current state of the entertainment industry, and I do think I will be in good company for that because, like myself, I'm sure a number of you are also very frustrated with the current state of entertainment. It's no secret that Hollywood has been a downward spiral for quite a few years now, and even the president of the US has taken notice.
So at the beginning of May, President Trump proposed implementing tariffs on foreign films. In a Truth Social post, he said that other countries were killing our film industry by offering incentives that take jobs outside the US.
As you can imagine, this set off quite a bit of panic in Hollywood.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has since offered to work with Trump on a tax incentive plan to address the issue, saying California was all in to boost production and eager to partner with the Trump administration to make America film again.
What a weird timeline. And while something does need to be done about the current entertainment industry, I'm not very sure that the government is going to be able to come save the day on this one. The entertainment industry isn't dying because other countries are offering cheaper filming options. The entertainment industry has been in a plunge for quite some time, and there's a few reasons why.
Now, 2018 saw some of the best box office numbers ever, bringing in $11.9 billion, which was closely replicated in 2019. But 2020 took a toll that is still affecting the industry today. During lockdowns, Hollywood halted film production and box office sales fell 80%.
And of course, the economic slump that followed also trickled down into theaters.
Around this time, Christopher Nolan sent out a plea to help employees of the film industry. He also encouraged moviegoers to return to theaters once the pandemic was over. He predicted that the need for collective human engagement would be more powerful than ever. His hope was that this would create a huge demand for entertainment and more movies, and Hollywood would answer the call, boosting local economies.
Now, he is correct, but people are not seeking human engagement by going to the theater anymore. In fact, thousands of theaters have shuttered their doors since 2020, and more theaters are having to offer kind of gimmicky things to just get people in the door. So much for local economies, I guess. But of course, lockdowns aren't the singular reason for this steady decline. It was already happening before, but COVID kind of accelerated that. The media consumption habits of Americans have changed just as much as our media has, with more people opting to stay in for movie night and stream on platforms like Netflix or Amazon Prime. And as much flack as Gen Z gets sometimes, they're actually the ones keeping theaters alive.
A 2023 survey found that 44% of Gen Zers reported heading to the theaters 1 to 2 times in the past month, whereas only 29% of millennials, 27% of Gen Xers, and just 18% of baby boomers reported the same. The high cost of theaters and the concessions that help keep the business afloat is also worth noting. The average ticket price in the US is sitting around $16, with a range between about $9 and $24 depending on where you're at.
So if you have a family of 4 and you want to get some drinks and popcorn, you're looking at least spending $100 for a movie night. Personal complaint here, it actually drives me insane that I have to pick my seat before I ever walk into the movie theater. Egregious. And if you do find yourself in a theater with other people, there's a good chance that they may be really inconsiderate theater goers and might ruin your experience anyway. So you combine the potential for having a disruptive theater experience with the high costs of tickets, the high costs of concessions. It actually does make sense why people are skipping the theater experience altogether. And there are some things that they're trying to do to kind of mitigate all of that. There's a lot of subscriptions where you can go and watch a certain amount of movies every month for a flat rate fee. AMC is doing this new thing where on Wednesdays they have tickets 50% off. But the thing is you wouldn't actually need to do all of this if the movies themselves were worth seeing. And a lot of people don't feel like they are. But while home provides more convenience, it also means less people in theater seats. And less people in seats means less revenue heading back to Hollywood to fund new projects.
In 2023, the Hollywood writer's strike put further strain on studios, and inflation only made things that much worse, sending film executives scattering to find more cost-effective filming solutions, with many turning to Canada and the UK.
And in fact, 2024 was the worst year for on-location filming in Los Angeles in the last 30 years aside from 2020.
And all of this led to studios taking a very cautious approach. They reduced their spending and started taking on far fewer projects. This ultimately led to mass layoffs in 2024 as companies just exhausted their development pipelines.
And now we're left with an entertainment landscape that resembles a greatest hits album as executives lean on existing projects to carry the industry. To illustrate my point, some of the films coming out for 2025 include Final Destination, Avatar, Freakier Friday, I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Conjuring, Jurassic World, Zootopia 2, Smurfs, another Superman movie, the live-action version of How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action version of Lilo and Stitch, and 28 Years Later.
What year is it?
I am excited for that last one, okay? I've been waiting a really long time. Kind of annoyed that they skipped over months. We have days, weeks, now years. Bugs me, but fingers crossed that they don't ruin it. We're in the age of remakes, but I don't think it's because they want to capture the magic that audiences once fell in love with. Filmmakers are just too afraid of the potential cost if something tanks. They're too afraid to invest in new ideas, new stories. So they are clinging to old stories rather than investing in new concepts. But unfortunately, going with the tried and true method doesn't pan out so well when you ruin everything you touch. Many of the modern day remakes are so different from the original. It's like they made something new and then stole an old title. It's like movie clickbait. And yes, I am looking at you, Snow White. Audiences are just not happy with the current trajectory and viewership continues to decline. I also think that we are missing out on a collective storytelling experience and it's creating a pretty big hole within our culture. When you don't even have entertainment that you can share, movies that you can talk about with people, like what do you have? Because right now we're the most divided that we've ever been. It's the most tumultuous when it comes to just politics and the way people interact with one another. And we don't even have the ability to talk about the movie that everybody saw last week because not everybody saw it. And I think this only deepens the political and cultural divide that has developed here in the US in particular.
Chris Gore, founder of Film Threat magazine and industry executive, touched on this in a 2021 interview, saying they can no longer make a movie for just the US because big films are marketed internationally now.
Let's be honest, the box office internationally, and especially in China, is much bigger than the United States. That market, those dollars. So you can't make a movie for the United States anymore. You have to make a movie for the world, which is fine, but I think in a way that's sort of diluting our identity as a people, as Americans, as we become more fractured. And it's distressing to see.
There's also the very real problem of altering timeless messages in old stories and rebooting them with modern day political agendas.
And audiences are tired of watching political messages thinly veiled as films. It's gotten so bad that even Disney CEO Bob Iger is saying the industry needs to focus on entertainment rather than messages fueled by agendas.
I think it goes a little bit deeper than that even. I think that the storytelling needs to revolve around just a human experience. And I'm not seeing a lot of those recently. Like, there's just not a lot left out there that we can all kind of look at and really resonate with just as people. Many films just revolve around a character who seems more like a list of attributes than an actual person, and that doesn't resonate with anyone.
Gore also touched on this in that interview, explaining that shoehorning in a type of character instead of just writing a great character leaves audiences feeling pretty lackluster about films. Modern interpretations of archetypes like the strong female lead have basically become a trope at this point because they're just not good.
Well, I think sometimes you read scripts and the character you're playing is announced as being a strong female role, and maybe that's supposed to be enticing, you know, but I think then you might just be playing someone who's quite hard-edged, and I think women just want to play really nuanced, exciting roles, human roles, you know. That's what I loved about this character, is she's not the damsel in distress. But she's also not an action hero, you know, she's sort of terrified by the prospect of this gauntlet ahead of her.
Basically, it gives us characters that have nothing really appealing about them, but we're supposed to like them anyway.
And while filmmakers should be realizing when they miss the mark based on the audience's reaction, some have just started accusing everyone of being hateful. We saw a lot of claims of a sexist fan base to try and justify why films like Captain Marvel or The Marvels missed the mark with audiences.
Similarly, audience disapproval over things like race swapping tends to get categorized as like out-of-pocket reactions from racist fans, when in reality, it's mostly a bunch of people balking at the dramatic change of their beloved character. The recent backlash of the casting decision for Professor Snape in the new Harry Potter reboot series is a pretty good example of this. And while I'm not opposed to an actual good reboot, the industry has just become risk averse when it comes to original content. If there's no proof of concept, if there's no guarantee that it will do well, they don't want to pick it up. But the problem is you're doing all of this for short-term gains while just completely forsaking creativity in the long run.
In 2025, Michael Bay spoke about a call he had with James Cameron, where the two commiserated about the current state of Hollywood. They cited frustrations about how difficult it has become to get approval for new projects.
And I think what's even more frustrating is there are a number of things that you could go back and redo that weren't done well the first time, or you could reinvent some old stories, but you choose not to. You keep picking up all of these franchises and spitting out sequel after sequel after sequel while capturing none of the magic of the first one. Like, why do we have Shrek 5 but we never got a good Aragon movie? They borrow the knowledge and feelings that audiences have towards a given film and its characters, hoping it's enough to get people to just go see the film and justify the huge production costs. And people are also tired of feeling alienated by out-of-touch celebrities who love lecturing us all on politics every chance they get. And all of this has led to quite a depressing entertainment landscape. We aren't getting good things or even new things. And I think there is a quickly approaching expiration date for Hollywood should this trend continue. The industry is desperately competing for attention and revenue, but they are losing because they're just too scared to go out on a limb. And when they continue to reframe the stories and the characters that we all know and love, they often erase the parts of the original film that made it so special in the first place. You're throwing away all the good parts and expecting audiences to just be happy with that because you've inserted some surface level messaging about diversity and inclusion. So it really is no wonder why things aren't going well. And it's also why I said that I don't think the government can provide any meaningful solutions for these deep-rooted problems, because they expand beyond financial. They go down to the very roots of filmmaking itself, and the filmmakers are the only ones who can correct that. They have to be willing to set aside the past films that did really well and move forward with the focus of creating films that aren't entangled so much with identity politics. But you have heard my thoughts, now I want to hear yours. Do you think the industry is dead in the water, or do you think that they can recover? Do you think tariffs or tax incentives would make an impact in the long run, or do you think it's kind of a band-aid solution? Do you completely disagree with my analysis? Speaking of, I really love seeing comments in my comment section, but I love civility even more, actually. So keep that in mind when you're down there and play nice in the sandbox. Thank you. Also, side note, if you've made it this far, I'm sure you noticed the weird focus issue happening this whole video. I apologize for that. Rookie mistakes will be made on this channel. It is what it is sometimes, and as a mom, I don't always have the free time to just keep re-recording the parts I've messed up. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit, okay? But thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one, which will be next Friday, because Friday is now my upload day. Also, if you don't see me upload on a Friday, probably bully me a little bit, because I've gotten distracted.